Good evening, everybody. It's Elena Barbera. Welcome to the Base Mother Show. Let's get started. Did you know that your local sheriff has a posse and you could actually be a part of it? No, like not some Wild West game. This is real life America 2025. The last time I talked with Sheriff Richard Mack, whose name you might recognize from when he fought the federal government for Second Amendment rights and won, he told me about posses and how the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association is fighting alongside citizens to uphold the Constitution amid what can only be described as complete chaos in American politics. Well, he's coming back tonight to share some America First truth bombs. I'm so excited to talk to him again. Let me bring in Sheriff Richard Mack. Hello, it is so great to have you back.
Elena, hi. It's great to be back with you. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah. I mean, with the last time we talked, when you told me about sheriffs having posses, I actually felt like, really in the dark on that. And I felt a little bit embarrassed that I have been so not engaged,
No,
throughout
you
my
shouldn't
life.
be. You shouldn't be because people do associate it, just like you said, associate that with the Old West. And they didn't realize that, oh, we still have them today? Yeah, we absolutely do quite a bit.
Yeah. Can you tell everybody about them and a little bit about your organization that, you're helping people understand this kind of stuff?
Okay, well, you're absolutely correct. Every citizen should join us and become part of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association posse, CSPOA.org. Become a member of our posse today. Check it out. Hey, if it's no contract, if you want to stop, you can stop. It's $11 a month, but we honestly feel that you'll love it. And we train you how to work with your sheriff who only reports to his boss, which is 3 words: we the people. In his county, the people are his boss and the only boss. And he has no other supervisor. So that's what's really key about this. And every sheriff in this country should have a group of volunteers that are his Minutemen and Minutewomen and have them available to him at a moment's notice if there's ever an emergency where he needs them. Or if he just wants them to ride along with the deputies on patrol shifts or help with transports or do maybe sometimes small jails don't have enough female officers to do all the correct and proper body searches of females. And sometimes we need female volunteers for that. And yes, there's training available for every bit of that. And I would say 90% of the sheriff's offices in this country already have a posse, and it's called his Search and Rescue Squad. And the Search and Rescue Squad in most sheriff's offices across this country are volunteers.
Wow.
Do they get good training? Yes. And are they just common, ordinary citizens? Yes. And are they obligated to help? No. But in a way, maybe we are. Maybe we all should be helping and doing everything we can in our community to keep people safe and to help our sheriff keep everybody safe. So we love that. We love volunteers, and it can be utilized however the sheriff wants. And so, one, we offer you an opportunity to be part of a peaceful and effective solution. And we are very, very solution oriented. And we're offering you a chance to be a part of this, because what did Jefferson say? The price of liberty is eternal vigilance. He was talking to us. So you're part of your sheriff's organization. How many hours can you put in? It doesn't matter, whatever you can do. Okay? So it's easy, it's effective, and it's extremely beneficial to the people in your county and community.
What you just said really struck me, a lot of it, but the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And the reason that the country is in the peril that it is, I mean, we can blame all the people in Washington and in our local governments who are corrupt and, all the fraud and the waste, but it's our fault as the American people. Now, not everybody, but I admit that for the vast majority of my adult life, I was asleep at the wheel, going on autopilot, worried about my own little world and not paying attention to what my government was doing. And I dropped the ball on the vigilance. And I think that that's what they want from us, is they want us to not be vigilant because we're so much easier to control and they can just do whatever they want and
do whatever they want.
Yeah. And I love that quote. And I think, did you say it was Jefferson? Is that right?
It was Jefferson.
Yes. Yes.
And I think he actually used the word freedom. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. But I kind of like liberty, how it sounds better.
Yeah, like give me liberty or give me death. And
yeah, exactly.
Speech, you know, that's it. Liberty really rings true there. You know, one of the things that you guys talk about a lot at the CSPOA is the illegal immigration crisis and deportations. And, you know, different sheriffs around the country we're seeing pop up in the news saying, like there's this guy, what's his name? Gregory Tony in Broward County. He's a sheriff here in Florida. He has said, you know, he's not really going to, he doesn't have time to focus on helping ICE. He's not really interested, where other sheriffs around my state of Florida are raising their hands, signing up and saying, yes, we're going to help you. We're doing everything we can. And so
there's a key component to that.
Yeah. What is that?
No sheriff can be forced to help, and no sheriff can be forced not to help. It is completely up to that sheriff and the people he works for. That's it. Now, none of them, just like we learned from Judge Hanna in Wisconsin, none of them can interfere, but they do not have to help. But a lot of citizens probably want them to help, because most sheriffs, most law enforcement, and the principle of law and order, we don't want all the criminals that Biden and Harris brought into this country. Some of them are absolute horrible enemies of America. We brought in cartels, we brought in international terrorists, and we brought in human traffickers, and we brought in fentanyl. And look how many people die every year of fentanyl. And yet we still have law enforcement professionals that don't want to help get rid of these criminals, these heinous, horrible criminals.
Yeah. What's driving that?
Trump derangement syndrome and politics, which are one and the same. But yeah, that's just absolute asinine for anyone in government to say, oh yeah, we want all these illegal aliens to stay here. And they haven't differentiated when they say that. They don't say, well, of course we don't want the murderers and rapists and the drug dealers and the human traffickers. They never say that. They just say, oh, we should keep the illegal aliens that come in. We need them, and we need people picking strawberries and you know what? I don't mind over the border work programs. I don't mind that at all. But it has to be based on law and order, and it has to be done appropriately. And those people need to go back after the picking season is over. I don't mind that. Let's all be honest and fair about that. And let's make sure that it works. But people aren't coming here to live, and I'm sure they're going to be living here while that season is going, and that's fine. But I'm totally open to that. I'm totally open to immigration. And as a matter of fact, becoming an American citizen from foreign countries needs to be a little bit easier. And I believe in all of that. But right now we've created a monster that is biting us on the backside, and it's destroying our country. And we've got to get a hold of this. And I'm in favor of a moratorium on all immigration until we get that solved. Well, it looks like we're getting it solved. So now let's go back and let's fix this and make it easier to become an American.
Yeah, I completely agree. People are, sitting for years and years waiting for a court date, waiting for their paperwork. If you're doing things the right way, like, let's move people through the system. But I was doing a little bit of homework about this, and there are a lot. I found this program. It's an ICE program called 287G, and it's this program
the sheriffs are supposed to be helping with that.
Right. So local law enforcement agencies, if I'm correct, they apply for this program, this 287 program, and then they're provided. ICE provides them with training and sort of closer cooperation. And during the Biden administration, dozens of law enforcement agencies applied for this so that they could have closer cooperation with ICE. And the Biden administration just let all these applications sit.
They stopped it.
They just
Biden stopped it.
didn't do anything.
He wanted to do everything he could to bring in illegals. Yeah. And not only that, not only did he aid and abet, but he actually participated in bringing them here through buses and jet airplanes. And that's treason.
It is. And, we're all waiting for the immigration criminal statutes on the books are aiding, abetting, harboring, transporting illegal aliens is a federal crime. Anyone who does it.
Sanctuary cities and states, those are all illegal.
Right. And then within those statutes, there's other laws that say, like, if that illegal alien that you harbored or transported commits any sort of crime, you are also liable. So every murder, every rape, every robbery that has committed, all of our elected officials who allowed this and participated in it should be held liable. Why do you think no one's being held liable yet?
I don't know. There's just this corrupt notion in Washington, D.C. that they can do anything they want. And I really urge Director Patel of the FBI and the director of the DOJ and President Trump, I beg of them to start criminal investigations against anyone in government who did this. If you don't do anything about it, you're going to embolden the career corrupt criminal politicians.
They're totally emboldened.
It's the number one problem facing our country today: corruption, and that the American people are not awake and involved. Those two. I mean, it's always been a problem with apathy, but folks, our country is on the verge of collapse, and we have got to get back, and we've got to come together, and we've got to work with local officials, especially sheriffs, because that's the greatest defense that we have. The sheriff is the first line and the last line of defense for every single person within his county. The states have got to get involved in this. And those are the two best check and balances that are provided to the American people within the Constitution. And so, folks, again, join us in this holy cause of liberty. Become a part of the solution. And you'll see that working with your fellow man, with your neighbors and your sheriff is really one of the best and most peaceful, effective solutions that we could ever come by. I am a pacifist. In 20 years of law enforcement, I never beat anybody up. I never shot anybody. I've never committed an act of violence towards another human being. And folks, if that was necessary, I would have done it. I mean, I tackled people and I pinned people up against the wall, and people who were fighting, I stopped it. One time I tackled both of the guys fighting. But I didn't need to beat them up afterwards. Okay. And, I'm a big guy and I played football in college, and I don't like to be violent. I'm a finesse athlete.
Yeah,
I'm not a bully. I'm not a bully, never have been. And folks, you need to be a part of this solution. I'm asking each of you to go to our website and become part of this effective and peaceful solutions. How many of those do you think we have left? Not very many. And so become a part of this effective and peacefully a solution at CSPOA.org.
I'm glad you brought that up, because on your website, you're talking a little bit about how, there are problems in law enforcement with these officers who are too rough and do go above and beyond in ways that aren't okay, and hurt, beating somebody up or just being gruffer than they need to be, and impolite to be an understatement. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I had a tons in my life of interactions with cops, whether it was just like local cops walking around in the neighborhood, or, you know, maybe I was speeding or did something stupid, you know, whatever. And like nothing.
Anytime I'm in New York, I go talk to the police.
Yeah.
I really do like them, and I tell them who I am, and we have a good time. And I think they're mostly good people.
Right. Once, one cop in Boston I met once was just a jerk for no reason, you know,
Yeah.
and but I'm talking out of possibly even hundreds, at least many dozens of interactions. It's not that common overall. By and large, the law enforcement that have, you know, in our country, they're good men and women who really are just trying to help their communities. But the bad actors do, do kind of overtake the narrative sometimes. And I appreciate what you're saying, that regular Joes and Janes can get involved and help tip the scales for good. And that's something that I think most people don't realize they have as an option.
And especially veterans. I mean, veterans, they could be very valuable to deputies. Like in my county, it was a huge county geographically, 4,500 square miles. And sometimes it was hard to have a backup unit. And so I wanted former police, former officers, former or reserve officers, and former military to get involved with us and ride along and keep each other safe that way. And deputies invite the opportunity to have a backup unit inside his vehicle. So this is just all better for everyone, and it creates a more peaceful community.
Yeah, I want to change gears a little bit. The CSPOA is vocal in talking about defunding Planned Parenthood. Now, you're not going to get any argument from me on this, but I don't really quite understand. Help me understand why an organization that's uniting, sheriffs and law enforcement and citizens is interested in this particular topic.
Well, because the foundation of our country is the Declaration of Independence. And it says we were endowed with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then it says the next 10 words are why we are so anxiously involved in this. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. It's our job as government to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I just absolutely believe in my heart of hearts that the worst thing we do in this government is that we're actually supporting and calling it a constitutional right for a pregnant woman to kill, even murder. To me, it is murder. Yeah. And that she has a constitutional right to murder this baby who could be born in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And that we do that out of embarrassment or convenience. And it's just fine that we do that because it's my body. And yes. And if you're really pro-choice, then if you choose to participate in the procreation process, you do not have the right to kill when you made that choice. If you were forced to, I think that's a different story, and we could discuss that. But the reason that why I am, and it's mostly me, I'm not pushing CSPOA to do it, but I represent CSPOA. I created this organization, and I still believe that it's our duty. And I'm willing to share this with everybody, and that I talk about this at our training for peace officers and sheriffs. I might mention it very briefly, but it is not usually one of the tenets that we teach. So you're kind of right in your question. It's not our big issue, but it's my big issue. And I believe that we cannot be America. And every peace officer in this country, I believe, should be a part of this in defending life and defending the unborn. And so I believe that we all need to be part of that. And the biggest thing, though, and the first and foremost, is defunding Planned Parenthood is not a design to stop abortion. It's a design to stop criminal and corrupt spending of America's taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
That's to me, that's probably the most corrupt thing we do in this government today. We funnel $800 million a year. Our politicians, corrupt politicians, funnel taxpayer dollars. We're forced to give our money to a private organization that provides no government service whatsoever. And then Planned Parenthood takes their donations and some of that and funnels it back to those same politicians that got it to them in the first place. So
Yes.
I find that so heinous and so corrupt that's also something criminal that should be investigated. Because
Yeah.
I believe that kind of funneling of taxpayer dollars and manipulating that kind of corrupt spending is illegal. You can't do that. And I own a national organization, CSPOA. I would never expect taxpayers to pay money to us, even though we're protecting civil rights of all people, county by county. We're protecting civil rights better than any other national group. But taxpayers should not be footing the bill. This should be by private donations, and
Yes.
anybody who wants to join us and donate to us, great. We appreciate it. But taxpayers should never be forced to do any of that, especially to a private organization known as Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, I completely agree. The grant system in this country has just become so sloppy. And so
Legalized
corrupt.
bribes. That's all they are.
Yeah.
They have no authority to be doing grants in the first place.
Yeah. Planned Parenthood, they're one of the largest providers of gender affirming care for young people, as well as being an abortion provider. They have materials in schools all over the country. They're teaching, they're teaching children about abortion, and gender identity and sexuality. I mean, it's the things I've seen come out of Planned Parenthood are straight out of Satan's playbook. I can't. I agree with you 100% on everything you said. And I appreciate your constitutional perspective, because I feel the same way. I think every child has a right to live. And I also think the harm that killing 1 million babies a year in this country is doing to us, to the soul of this nation, is immeasurable. Amen. I can't even imagine what it's doing to men, because there are a lot of men who do not want their children aborted. And right. This fake power that women have been told that they have, that it's their body and it doesn't matter, is really demonic and morally depraved. And I feel bad. It hurts me that my country does this. So yeah, defunding Planned Parenthood is a start. So at least our tax dollars, your tax dollars and mine, I mean, are not.
I don't believe we'll ever stop abortion, but we can stop funding Planned Parenthood.
Yes, I would like. Yeah, right. I don't even care if abortion is not legal. I would like to live in a society where it's morally unthinkable.
It's not done.
Just unthinkable to do. That's what I want. Yeah.
Morally, absolutely morally reprehensible, and we should never be committing such a heinous act in this country, and then endorsing it like Obama did, calling it a constitutional right. That's so absurd.
No, I mean, look at all the things that we're doing, though, that we're hearing from the left. So yes, ending the life of an unborn child is a constitutional right. Sterilizing and doing quote unquote sex change surgeries on children should be a right. Decriminalizing things like theft and minor assaults, and they want to decriminalize prostitution. I mean, the moral depravity coming from that side is off the charts. I mean, this isn't the Democrat Party from 20 years ago.
Well, I actually don't agree with making prostitution illegal.
Okay, what?
You want me to tell you why real quick?
Yes, I don't think we're going to agree on this. This is exciting.
What two consenting adults do together is none of my business, and I don't see how I have a right to interfere with that. If you go meet somebody, not you. If someone goes to a bar and they get together and they dance and they go back to the hotel and they do what two people do, and they've committed no crime and no government interference. But if he leaves her $50, then that's a crime? No, baloney. No, that's not crime. I don't agree with it morally, and it's certainly not for me. But at the same time, I don't see where government has skin in the game to get involved in that. If my neighbors don't, then my government doesn't either.
No, I mean, you make a really good point. You do. I guess my problem really is more of a moral problem. That the
Yeah,
buying and selling of human beings, in such an intimate
Oh, well,
way.
human trafficking is altogether. I'll get involved in that. Yes. And especially with
Yeah.
children.
But that's what it feels like, legalized human trafficking to me. And when people say you can't legislate morality, of course you can. All of our laws are based
All of
in
our laws should
morality.
be moral, but
Yeah.
at the same time, where morally do I have a right to interfere with what two people do? Again, I said two consenting adults. That's where I draw the line. I draw the line with children. There should be none of that. And the Biden administration was pushing that too.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, I don't want to live in
I,
a world.
I want to find
I
those 350,000, 400,000
Yeah.
children. I want them found. I want them brought back, and I want their families. But to be honest with you, a lot of the families that came through the southern border sold their children into sex slavery because they didn't have the money to do it. Where do you think all these poor people from Latin America got $7, $8, $10,000 to come into America?
Yeah, I've been
Paying
wondering
the
that.
that kind of money. No, they sold those. A lot of those children were sold, and so this is so sad and so horrible. But yes, I am totally in favor of the government doing everything they can to find those children.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, turn over every stone. The problem is, I don't even think all those children are. I don't know how we can find them, because I don't think, from what I'm understanding, that the records are even strong enough for us to track
No,
a
but
lot of them down.
the Interpol and international police and other police know where this is going on. There's some countries that allow it.
Yeah.
And so that's what they really need to start focusing.
Yeah, and to me, prostitution is in this family. And I know that, we're talking about your consenting adults, but many prostitutes are, under the threat of violence. They're on drugs. They're not, clear-headed, where they woke up and like they're
Well,
going.
that's another story too. I don't agree with the drug war anymore either. The drug war has been a complete failure. And I'm a former undercover narcotics agent. And I was also a former school resource officer. And I was also a detective that specialized in crimes against children. And I have the scars from the cases that I worked. But at the same time, law enforcement every year comes back and says, oh, we need more task forces. We need more manpower. We need more money. We need more equipment. We need more technology. We've got to stop this drug problem. And every year the drug problem gets worse.
Yeah.
And law enforcement needs to admit readily and be honest with the public that we have failed and failed miserably. And we all need to get together in our communities with churches and schools and law enforcement and everyone, just citizens and families and parents, and come up with a way to attack this problem where we actually really make some headway. But so far, it's been an exercise in futility, and we just keep doing the same thing over and over, and somehow we expect a different result.
Well, what do you think about? What do you think? No, you're 100%. What do you think about the president designating the cartels as terrorist organizations, and how serious should we go after them? I mean, I personally, I send in the SEALs, send in the army, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. And already, what's her name? Gershom, the president of Mexico, the lady there. Look, the 10% of the GDP of Mexico is related to drugs. They can't afford to give that up. And most governments are controlled by cartels. They're all cartel driven. They do the donations. They are in control. They're promoting violence and the killings and intergang violence and wars. And now it's happening at some of the biggest resorts and vacation spots of Mexico. Look, Mexico has a lot of resources, and they have a lot of vacation spots that it makes it a fantastic place to visit. But the cartels are really destroying a lot of that. and cartels own some of it. So it's a big circle. But believe me, the corruption of Mexico and Latin America is driven by the cartels. And now she told Trump she doesn't want him bringing military in to go after the cartels. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder who really pulls the strings there. And because I know who does, and most everybody else does. So we've got to do some work there. But even back in 2015, the DEA agents, Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA agents were caught having sex parties in Colombia. And guess who provided the prostitutes? The cartels. The cartels. And these agents are supposed to be attacking the drug problem in Colombia. Instead, they're taking bribes from the cartels. And these were dozens and dozens of agents. And guess how many of them were prosecuted or fired or disciplined in any way? None of them. Really? Zero. And so the corruption just keeps going on and on and on in Washington, D.C. This was obviously 2015 was not Trump, but we've got to get tougher in Washington, D.C., and we've got to get tougher in our communities and our states. And right now, everybody's just, oh, yeah, we don't want the police and we don't want it is so stupid and it's so counterproductive to law and order.
No, and it's deadly, and we're seeing the results of this in our cities. With revolving doors for criminals and people not being prosecuted for anything. Even I know we got to go, but in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, a man just the other day was spray painting "Free Palestine" on a sidewalk, and another man had walked up to him, and took a picture because this guy just dropped his 6-year-old off at school. Walking home, sees this guy spray painting. They get into an altercation. The spray painting graffiti artist pulls out a gun and shoots this father dead on the street. He had just had a criminal case dismissed in which he tried to run over another man and then got out of the car and attacked him with a machete. And he served no time for this. No prosecution. This is in Massachusetts again, very liberal, revolving door. We're living in absolute mayhem. The drugs, the trafficking. I mean, we're in real trouble here in this country. And I want to just remind everybody one more time, go to CSPOA, get involved, and find a way to get involved with your own sheriff's department, because we can be a part of the solution. We do have the option to fight back and in a way that's productive and peaceful. And maybe this country will have a shot, because what you said earlier, that this country is on, I don't have the words right, but basically the precipice of just being finished and
complete collapse.
Complete collapse. Yes. And it is there. That's where we are. So we got to do something. And final words, Sheriff Mack.
Well, there is a peaceful and effective solution, and we can join the holy cause of liberty today. It's not if we move forward. The solution for America is behind us. It's in Independence Hall. It's in our Constitution and Declaration of Independence. It's in the principles that our founders established for all of us. And we can take all of this back and be part of the solution. In fact, I'll end with the last sentence from the Declaration of Independence. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. We must do the same today.
Absolutely. Thank you again for coming. I absolutely loved chatting with you today, and I hope you'll come back sometime.
I sure will, Elena. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Wow, guys. All right, you heard it. You know where to go. Go to CSPOA.org, learn more. So grateful to Sheriff Mack for coming on again today. You have a great week. God bless you. God bless America.